Alright, time for another draftphysics.com and debatephysics.com video presentation. Number 8. Alright, so we're almost done. More comments. So these are comments on the original debate video. Alright, so we'll see how that goes. I know I read some of them before, so I picked a point where I said I don't remember that comment, so it might not be, might be, some of this might be redundant, but we'll see. So he says, no, garbage in, garbage out. He wasn't listening. When did Toon bring up the amateur experiment? So I don't know. He brought it up in the conversations, no doubt about it. And so the whole point is this is a real thing, right? This whole producing evidence of something actually being a real thing. And so you have this pretty simple experiment, where it's difficult, but in this, the principle is simple. You're going to watch something move as it's disturbed by a gravitational field. And unfortunately, from Earth, we have to do it only when there's an eclipse. And we can't do it really perfectly because the sun is still creating a bunch of crap in the atmosphere around the sun. So you have to do it where the gravity isn't nearly as strong. And the fact is that the gravity on the surface of the sun is only 80 times what the gravity on Earth is. So even though the sun's a million times bigger, it's not very dense, and so the gravity isn't all that, frankly. It's only like twice the gravity of Jupiter. It's not all that. Okay. So anyway, and so you just don't think this should be done, though, right? We shouldn't do this experiment right. So there's 400 times better resolution from space. The experiment really can be done at any time from space. And you could almost make a video of it in the sense that you could really get an optical image. You don't have to use time lapse and all that kind of stuff. And they haven't done it. And that doesn't bother any of you assholes. Okay. I mean, that to me is the definition of people who really don't give a shit about science. Science should be about doing all the experiments you possibly can. Test, 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 test. Test it over and over again. Change the variables. Keep fiddling with it. Test it, test it, test it. Make sure it's right before you call people an idiot because they don't believe what you believe. You should believe what you believe because you've seen it, not because somebody says, well, there's quarks. And now you believe it because he said so. I can convert mass into bent space. That's what the wave guys do, the gravitational wave. They say they can do that. They've proven that you can convert mass into bent space somehow. You believe it because they say so. Okay. I used to watch Gary 15 years ago. Not interesting. Incredibly arrogant and angry. He blocked me for pointing out he was wrong about something. Oh, why don't you prove that? Okay. Crazy hermit with some interesting ideas. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah. I don't block people for nothing. I block people for premising their arguments with lies. So if you're going to lie about what I've said or what I've done, then fuck you. I have no obligation to defend myself against compulsive liars. And you usually have to lie more than once for me to block you. He doesn't even understand how photons and lenses work. Amazing. So all I asserted is that a optical lens, okay, that we use to see things, okay, is completely different from a gravity lens. A gravity lens does exactly the opposite of what this magnifying lens does, right? This magnifying lens can magnify things because, okay, it's got a certain shape. And a gravity lens can't do that because it doesn't have the right shape. It hasn't been shaped to proportionally bend at just the right angle. So any object I put in a gravity lens, I won't be able to see the whole object because it'll bend the stuff inside too much and it'll bend the stuff on the outside too little. Fact. And this asshole posts this. I don't understand. No, you don't understand, fucktard. You're looking at an image in space, right? I mean, they don't even understand how gravitational lensing works. Here's the gravitational body halfway between me and the camera. This thing, what's going to actually happen is the image has to be cast on this gravity plane, this plane of gravity, the image is actually going to be cast on it like a projector. It's going to be projected onto the lens. And you can't understand that if the lens isn't bending correctly, there's no fucking way that projection is going to be visible to me. I can't see it because the light will be bent too much and too little. So even though it's being projected as an image, I can't see the image because the image is going to go this way and that way. It's not going to go to me because the lens is the wrong shape to send it to me. God damn, you people are dumb. Oh, this Trees guy, he posted 35 comments. I mean, they're just so full of it. Oh, look at me, look at me. His evidence is a TV show. So it's one piece of the evidence, yes. So he's saying that everything Mythbusters did was rubbish. Is that your implication? They didn't really try to do science? I'd argue they tried to do it. They didn't do it very well sometimes. But they actually had physicists as consultants. So scientists had more to do with that show than religious kooks, right? Is that what you're going to make some kind of other argument, that scientists didn't have anything to do with the show? That it wasn't really a science show? Amazing. They don't do any of the things he said they did. So, of course, they did crash the cars and they did crush clay. It's just an absolute fact. They did it. And they even noted, hey, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to be detecting kinetic energy? Oh, yeah, we are. It's like it occurred to them later. And then they said, how come we didn't find any kinetic energy? And then the guy goes on the camera and he says, well, this is a tin can. I'm going to crush it. And see how unevenly it crushes? yeah, so that was the excuse. So I mean, okay, so now that's a fluffer material right there. So amazing statement, really. I mean, it's so glaring that, they claim that I'm rejecting the evidence because I don't like it, and then they do exactly the same thing. And then they say, oh, no, that's perfectly legitimate. When I say the evidence is shit, it's shit. But when you say it's shit, it's not shit. I mean, ridiculous, useless. Let's see, he tried to copy these equations from the internet. So this is all a lie, so there's no point. Okay. Yeah, He's even related to Donald Trump. So I don't even know how somebody could think that was possible. If he was my relative, I would have killed my entire family tree. I mean, really. I mean, if something could actually be that disgusting from the genetics that my family pool would be, I'd have no alternative but to just mass murder them all, because they've got the demon seed in them. Ooh. Okay, the same argument of any denier. Maybe these highly regular experiment results are caused by something random. So what regular experimental result are you talking about, you fucking little piece of troll? Oh, this is the same Muxky-Oxy thing. The pervert with the girly icons. The little girl. The very young little girl icon. I don't see the point of trying to debate these nut jobs. I certainly don't see any hope in you, fucktard. So this is a guy in college doing physics, and he can't do anything better than this as a counter argument. They're either too dumb or mentally ill to ever accept reality. So it's on you, Clive. I'm gonna, we'll make the fucking argument. All right? You can make videos. So I'm going to ask you to back up your bullshit, you ballless weasel. What would be more useful, but I imagine equally inaccessible, is how they get where they are and why they are so against the rest of the world. I'm against liars, I'm against falsehoods, I'm against religions, any of them. And you're a religious kook. You believe things because they told you so, not because you know so, not because you saw so. And that's the fact. You believe in 1/2 mv squared and you haven't seen a single piece of evidence demonstrating it, you motherfucking piece of crap. Alright, he explains his misunderstanding in a really understandable way. I appreciate that. That's just amazing. So what is it, the misunderstanding? I understand that v squared means e is going to grow quadratically. I understand that as an absolute truth. Toon doesn't. Okay. I see the problem. He has an aptitude for maths. You keep thinking the physical universe is a math equation, and it's not. Okay, it might be some geometry, so you might want to use some Pythagorean logic because it's geometric. Things are related to each other by distance, okay, at angles, and it's all straight lines. You morons think there's no straight lines, that nothing is real space, and there's no real distance. I'm saying, shit, why do you believe that crap? You don't have any evidence there's no absolute positions in space. Oh, your people are just so doopy and stupid. Gary's what Witsit will look like and sound like in 40 years. Well, that's not interesting. Looney Tune Night. Yeah, he's the cartoon character. He acts like a flat earther with how confidently wrong he is. So again, nobody demonstrated me wrong about a motherfucking thing. And you're all fucking Weasley lying cowards, and you should get what you Weasley lying cowards deserve. So I hope you get what you deserve, because that's the way the world should work. Deserve should have something to do with it. Lying hunks of shit talk should get pretty much what they deserve, okay, which won't be pleasant. Okay, then gets irrationally angry when asked to show evidence. Lie, lie, lie some more. I asked you to show evidence and you can't do it. My 5-minute video cited experimental evidence. You didn't argue any of those experiments. Not a single one. Not a single one. You pretended the ballistic pendulum experiment didn't turn out the way it did. And I'm just saying, well, I can play it for you. Okay, the Professor Lewin ballistic pendulum experiment. You can see it for yourself. You can watch him draw right on the board. We lost 99.94% of the kinetic energy is gone. Please bring back flat earthers. This sky is to science literacy what okay is to entropy. Whatever, there's no entropy is a pretty stupid concept, frankly. Especially in a universe that has gravity in it. Alright, compelling. So he just does a time code. Useless. Kinetic energy isn't always conserved. I didn't say that, of course. Duh. Okay, drop an object. Kinetic energy goes from 0 to non-zero. I don't know how this makes any sense. Kinetic energy doesn't have a direction. It only goes from 0 to non-zero because it's acquiring force from gravity. It's being pushed like a wind pushes something. It's not a surprise. Or a stream moves something. It's exactly the same. The Leonard Susskind of Stanford, one of the most famous physicists in the world, all right, teaches relativity by using the analogy of flowing water. Retard. Anyway, kinetic energy doesn't have a direction. So again, it's just the most ludicrous thing somebody can possibly say to me, and I'm going to say what to that? You don't think that's a flat earth theory? A train is rolling down the track, and you're saying its kinetic energy isn't a vector. It's its mass moving a velocity on a train track, and you're saying its energy isn't a vector. So nobody is claiming it gets canceled by kinetic energy pointing in the other way. Well, of course, that's exactly what you are saying. You're saying it's possible for a car going 100 miles an hour this way to hit a car going 50 miles an hour. No, a car going 150 miles an hour this way can hit a car going 50 miles an hour this way. They hit each other, and only this car goes away with 100 miles an hour. I mean, it's not that direct. Let's use the, it is a 3-mass truck versus a Volkswagen. All right, same analogy. And only 100 pops out. So 200 goes in, only 100 pops out. And they're solid elastic collision. No bent fenders. That's what you believe, and it's nonsense. It doesn't happen in this physical universe. All right, so kinetic energy doesn't have a direction. I just can't, I'm just saying, you can't see how, gee, that's really saying something pretty silly, isn't it? Mass and velocity. A velocity doesn't have a direction? How can a velocity not have a direction? I just don't understand that. How does a velocity not have a direction? Could you show me the non-directed velocity? So nobody is claiming it gets canceled. I just can't believe it. Okay, kinetic energy is used to balance equations of total energy. So whatever that means again, there's a difference between its energy and its total energy. It's MV. I don't understand how the MV can have, well, this is how much energy it has and this is how much total energy it has. How does it have those two things? All right, anyway, add up the potential chemical. I mean, what is all this? The chemical energy? What does that have to do with translational experiments with objects? So what exactly you're saying? The kinetic energy isn't in its motion, yet you're squaring the velocity? How does squaring the velocity, melt it down and figure out what it's made out of chemically? How does squaring the velocity guarantee that you've decided what kind of chemistry it's made out of and how much nuclear energy it has? Oh, I mean, this is so pathetic that you're just, well, what the fuck? Oh, that's the little fucking, the girly icon. All right, this is going to be good. I can't wait for the mathematical model that supports this position. MV. That's the mathematical model. Everything in the universe, okay, that's moving can apply a weight when it hits something, a pressure, period. That's all there is. That's the mathematical model. Oh, you people are just such piles of shit. I'm rubber, your glue, whatever you say. Yes, exactly, I said that. Someone ought to invite this guy to their high school, college physics classroom, show him a quick experiment using a ramp, weight, and ultrasonic sensor to measure the change in position. So again, it's this change in position. So do you understand what angular momentum is? And do you understand when you have a cart on little rolling wheels, that if you make the wheels out of a heavy mass, they'll store part of the linear motion's energy. So something will have a linear motion, a velocity, but it won't represent its total energy, like the other asshole said, because you've stored a whole bunch of energy in the wheels. So when you're using your ultrasonic detector, it's not detecting how much energy's in the rotating axles and wheels. Can you understand that? Oh, no, probably not. Okay, Gary's thinking is stuck at the physics I learned and experimentally verified at 14 years old. So what was that? And what changed when you were 15? What was the big experiment when you were 15 that changed you into an asshole? Let's see. It took hard work to understand. Sadly, Gary wants to be seen as a genius, but hasn't actually done the work to grasp the concept. So I've actually played in my own videos hundreds of lectures, and obviously I've watched many hundreds. So fuck you. I mean, just keep lying, assholes. I know the history of energy better than any of you. You haven't read any of it. I've read all of it. Okay, I don't understand why. Just stop being a big fella, whatever that is. It is very entertaining that he follows up with his assumption about something that isn't even a formula. So I don't even know what this could possibly be about. Sheesh. He isn't familiar with the steel man. I'm certainly familiar with the liar man, and that's all you people are. Duplicitous liar man. Okay, the daft physics guy is unhinged. Well, that's just too useless. Why is this dude so angry? Because I live on a planet full of human shit. Brains that could do so much better, and they do absolutely almost as bad as possible. You can't show any honesty, any integrity at all. You're just fucking morons eating potato chips and laughing. You're just such stupid, fat, cretinuses, smelly hunks of garbage. You're representing millions of years of evolution, and you're humiliating it. You're humiliating the concept of intelligence. Okay, like no one believes his horse shit. Okay, we'll see. I mean, time is going to tell, fucker. Okay, and I hope you get what you deserved, which is to have your grave pissed on. All right. Anyone who's had to communicate with this paranoid, delusional schizophrenic. So these are all pretty bold accusations, so we can just assume, oh, this is one of these assholes from my channel, that he's just licks dog's ass. It's just a dog ass licker. Okay, yes, call him out, Toon. Don't let him get off with his tomfoolery. And so the tomfoolery is what? Yeah, we're not going to play the commercial again, so fuck that. I'm not a flat earther. Boomeranging closes video. Whatever. Did this dude really just use the I'm rubber and you're glue? Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought it was totally appropriate. Gary's most favorite answer to everyone is it doesn't matter. I know when things matter and when they don't matter. So yeah, there are things that matter, and then there's variables that don't matter. What my hair looks like doesn't matter. You know, what shirt I'm wearing doesn't matter. Lots of stuff doesn't matter, fucker. Let's see, especially units. Yes. So again, I mean, you know, you don't really want to argue the point, right? I mean, if you read Newton's text, he doesn't use units. He says a 1 mass, and then he says a 4 velocity. That's what he says, idiot. Oh, fuck. When you hear someone say, I'm going to do that math when it comes to physics, you know immediately that you can dismiss them right away. I'm not going to do any math. Yeah, I don't think the physical universe is made out of silly mathematical equations, and especially silly ones. 1/2 mv squared. Never proven, believed by a religious kook. Invented by a religious kook. Okay. Did you look at the papers? Let's see. I read Eddington's journal. So reading Eddington's journal is not a reasonable thing to do. Okay. Did you look at Eddington's papers? I read Eddington's journal. What is the difference? Eddington's papers. What were his papers? I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're saying. All he did was basically say, we proved it. They didn't write papers back then that were very detailed. He just said, yes, Einstein was correct. Okay, did you read Eddington's journal? I don't know what this... I don't know. The fact that he says in his journal, I got 10% of the data quality. I'm very disappointed. The weather sucks. The fact that that wasn't in the New York Times story. You know, that, well, Eddington did report that, yes, he only got 10% of the data quality. I mean, it's essentially saying his telescope went from 12 feet long to 12 inches long. Can you understand how that's a big liability? Oh, God, these people are just such pieces of sucking, lying, duplicitous shit. All right, if ever there was a reason to restrict access to the internet, so, you know, we won't even bother reading the rest of that. So he wants to censor people. Leibniz wanted to censor Newton. So the inventor of this horse shit wanted Newton shut up because he was too much of an atheist. I mean, the real story is really funny. He actually wrote the sister of the king, okay, trying to get her to persuade the king to stop Newton. Can you understand how ludicrous this is? When Newton was a religious nut. Okay. He just smokes weed and conceptualizes all day. Yeah, there's no... You're the people who, frankly, are the ones defending drinking and smoking. I'm not doing any of that. Okay, it always blows my mind when someone does a tiny bit of research into a field. So it's hardly a tiny bit. Go ahead, you look up. Leibniz wrote to everyone on the planet. You know, there's a ton of papers from Leibniz, and it's all full of solitons and monads. You go through all that crap and try to find something cogent. All right, it's really hard work. All right, notice is something they don't understand, and their first instinct to think it must be found a flaw in the system. Yes, all right, this is just such bullshit, right? So the frank truth is he believed he had a whole wacky religious theory about inanimate objects having a soul. I mean, fuck you. You're religious kooks. All right, anyway. Back when I was doing my graduate degree in math, one of the jobs of the lecturer undergrad was to construct undergrad recitations. One day, an undergrad student came to me and insisted that he found an error in a well-established... he was plainly... oh, no, I'll forget this story. I doubt this moron could have a degree in anything. Well, suppose they are coming from a field of humanities. They might be used the entire field bank. I don't know what that could be. Oh, God damn, these people are so obtuse. In the same way, people coming to STEM fields might be inclined to assume that humanities fields... Okay, this is... who could care? Gary was destroyed his brain through drug abuse. So another drug reference. So that's the extent of their capacity to do reasoning, is really insipidly stupid profiling. You know, there's lots of people, let me just give you a clue. There's lots of people with long hair who don't play a guitar and do drugs. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay. Funny, I learned more about physics about 2 hours listening to MCToons than I did in college. So we learned that V squared doesn't mean the energy increases quadratically with changes in the velocity. So you learned that, did you? Or maybe I've forgotten most of it already. That seems pretty obvious. Also, can someone explain to me how this surfer, got 2,000 joules in one and 2 joules in the other direction when they were talking about guns? So he doesn't know that the bullet has at least 1,000 times more energy than the recoil of the gun. He doesn't know that's true. It's probably closer to some higher number, but 2,000 to 2 would be the ratio. Some sort of like rough standard or something. But it's 1,000 to 1 difference. He doesn't know that. Also, nuclear rocket fuel. Yes, an example, just to quit messing around. We know nuclear fuel can be used, so we just know that we don't have the machine that could do that, right? I mean, but the Voyager is using nuclear fuel. There's lots of things that can use nuclear fuel, so we haven't perfected that technology. But the idea is we could, and then we could have 10 ounces of fuel. Okay, and then we wouldn't have to worry about the rocket getting lighter, was the whole point. We don't need the whole second half of the equation because that's just about the rocket getting lighter. You can't understand why that's a little more efficient? Okay. Sad. It's sad that you can't understand. Gary should have the decency to mute his mic during Tuesday's presentation. Very distracting, I believe, on purpose. So I didn't hear any of that, so... that's kind of ridiculous. The flirts and extremists, religious zealots, had been in charge from the beginning. We would still be living in caves. So there's just, this pretense that their science, MV squared, has improved the world somehow. So there's absolutely no evidence that MV squared has done science any good. And what it has done is make them believe in woolicles and fake particles because they don't have any of their assignments of energy correct. They think a proton hitting the atmosphere could knock over the Empire State Building because it has so much energy. But as the ballistic pendulum proves, you can't collect it. You can't knock over anything because you can't collect the energy. Alright, this is who the guy got his crap from. I don't know what that is. This was hilarious. I'm curious how he got to the point where he thinks he know anything. he know anything. Yeah. Oh, it is funny. Amateur astronomer Donald Burns observed the Great American Eclipse in Wyoming. So they didn't do the eclipse that was 12 noon. Okay, the amateur did it. All right. So the 12 noon eclipse was wasted on an amateur. And if you read the paper, there's nothing there. There's there's a little, like one of those little cigar things, like a Tic Tac. Okay, we have no context for the image quality at all. He doesn't show us his actual digital film slides. Okay, so what's the point? I'm going to write a paper about what I observed, but I'm not going to show you what I observed. Pretty silly, I would argue. That guy is completely hat stand. So, and again, he didn't get it published in a reviewed journal. So apparently he's somehow afraid that he can't get it published in one, or what? Why didn't he submit it to a reviewed journal? Should change his name to Daft. Well, boy, that's just so funny. Clever. Objects with a velocity of, Toon should change his name to Dog Ass Licker. Okay, objects with a velocity of 2,000 miles per hour accelerate to travel 5 miles in half a second. Yes, so if they're traveling 5 miles in half a second through gravity, it means they will only get 3 meters worth of extra distance. 3 meters worth. That's the same wicked gravity, the title to no atmosphere. I don't know what that is. To travel 5 miles in half a second, the object would have to have an average velocity of 3,600 miles per hour, which is probably the average velocity of a meteor, going 2,000 meters per mile. So, okay, this is just a waste of time. Gravity is a time-dependent force. It's 9.8 meters per 1 second. That's what Newton said. He said whatever in feet, but obviously that's what Galileo and Newton understood. It's a per unit of time force, and if you go through it in a half a second, you can't use distance to decide how much gravity you got, because you didn't get that much, because it's a time-dependent force. Oh God, these people are such ignorant liars. Okay, I'm glad high as giraffe balls. Well, I don't know what that could he possibly mean. All right, internal combustion engine. Not interesting, but go ahead. Compare fuel consumption at 750 RPM to fuel consumption at 8,000 RPM. Mr. Stoner there is a real world example, at least an example. So he actually does believe that it takes 25 times the electricity to spin a motor 5 times as fast. He thinks a water wheel, okay, all I have to do is funnel the water into faster water and I can make more energy. All right, amazing bullshit. Whole argument seemed to be, I don't understand conversion between units. Okay, that's just no point. All right, why all the anger from him? Because I live on a planet of lying scum, and it's disturbing and irritating that you don't get what you deserve. I wish you could get what you deserve. It sucks to watch assholes not get what they deserve. Gary is his own worst enemy, says you. But anyway, anyone who claims anyone else is wrong, but he has 100% right, and then when challenged shows nothing. So again, the whole fucking 5-minute intro video is me showing the lever experiment, showing the rolling ball experiment, showing the ballistic pendulum experiment. Liar, liar. Your ass should be on fire. Okay, at around blah blah blah, I'm getting visions of an experiment in school where a wood trough set on an incline with a series of bells hanging over it. That's Galileo's experiment. Exactly proving that it's a time-dependent force, by the way. Okay, shows massive gravitational lensing like every damn day. So the The JWST shows massive gravitational lensing like every single day. Where? Where does it show that? It shows smears and smudges. It doesn't show anything that's anything like mathematically rational. He hasn't looked at it, I think. So go ahead, link to it, please. I'm very interested to see what you say is a lensed image, and for you to explain how it's possible for it to be a lensed image, especially when you're showing a whole galaxy lensed. Because again, I'll say it again, the lens is the wrong shape. It's impossible. A gravitational lens has no focal length. You can't fucking project an image. Alright, well, I'm about half an hour in and I'm a little disappointed. I thought he had a better grasp of actual physics. Wow. Edit. Now I'm past an hour and the man was wrong. And man, was I wrong. Okay, let's see what he says. Edit again. He doesn't understand acceleration as meters per second squared. Of course I don't understand it because it's 9.8 meters per 1 second. So I don't understand why I square something. He doesn't accept x equals 1/2 at times squared. Yes, of course I don't bother. I mean, that one is actually correct in the sense that you're squaring the right function to get the distance. But who cares about what the distance is? That's not the equation here. We're trying to assert how much energy something has. All right, he doesn't like the square. He doesn't like the squared. I just don't see any purpose in it. But certainly using time, at least you have the right coefficient. But the acceleration, all right, being in there is that's fucked. All right, and tune for visual calculus look very nice. Okay, so tune says that 1/2 mb squared doesn't mean a quadratic increase in connection between an increase in velocity and energy. And you're defending that. Throw away a clubber. He said it over and over and over again. That's not what the formula says. It's not what the formula said. He says it over and over again. And it's the only reason why I'm making these videos is because that's exactly what the formula says. He may not be a flirt, but he's confident insistence that he's overtly simplistic understanding is right. Well, again, it's too simplistic. That's right. It doesn't have any gods in it. No woo, no special forces, no wooicles, no magical forces, no spiritual energy, no living forces. Yeah. You may not be... Okay, we already did that. Another barstool flicks expert who is so desperately want to be considered smart. No, I desperately want you to make a counter argument regarding the truth of your religion. Like, show me some evidence demonstrating it to be true. Collect kinetic energy somewhere to show me it does something. Show me kinetic energy moving a spaceship. Show me kinetic energy doing anything. Moving something. Show me the kinetic energy of an object move something. Gary is not a flat earther. He just denies all physics. Reminds me of a great movie. Well, I couldn't care less. Mechanical watch has a spring. Right, exactly. I was actually going to use that as an example because, you know, obviously it swings back and forth. And you could understand that if you put weights on it, what weights would you have to put on to be balanced? So if I put a one mass on one side, 4 distances from the fulcrum, and I put a 4 mass 1 distance from the fulcrum, wouldn't that little spring tell you that those 2 masses are exactly the same energy? That the movement of the 1 mass 4 velocity is exactly the same as the 4 mass moved 1 velocity. So it would absolutely prove my point again. So thank you for bringing it up. So I could argue again that yes, a watch spring proves there's no kinetic energy. Have you wondered what where was it? Oh, watch spring. Winded up stored collected kinetic energy. So obviously you can say it's collected kinetic energy, and I can say no, it's collected momentum. Springs store momentum. This weight is momentum, because I can turn the scale this way and it'll read the same damn thing. If I put an elephant on it and he weighs 1, okay, I can do this. I can turn the scale this way, and then I can say, how fast do I have to make the elephant move to get a 1 on the scale, like there? How fast? And it's the same number for every single thing. So if I want to, if I want to know how fast does a mouse have to go to weigh the mouse amount, how fast does a monkey have to go to weigh monkey amount, and it's all the same speed. Fucktards. 1 mile an hour. Let's see. Have you wondered? No, we're back to here. Skyscrapers are stored kinetic energy. Picking up a brick is stored kinetic energy. So obviously it isn't. The brick has no energy in it. Putting something somewhere and tying it up doesn't store any energy in it. You're stealing the energy from the stream. The water wheel has no energy in it. The water wheel is stealing the energy from the water. Can you understand that? Oh, anyway, these people are so goddamn stupid. I kind of like this guy's act, whatever. Have you ever wondered what a retired meth addict, so then again, wasted meth lion just debunked the rocket equation? So again, the rocket equation has nothing to do with demonstrating kinetic energy. Nothing. It's talking about the octane of the fuel. The rocket equation is telling you what the octane of the fuel is. And the equation claims, Professor Lewin actually brings this up in a video, the equation actually claims that the fuel gets more octane in it the faster you go. So as you're losing fuel, the remaining fuel, the octane keeps increasing of your fuel. And he points out how, well, yeah, that doesn't sound quite right, does it? So fuck you. Alright, did meth line. Okay. Can you imagine this Einstein debating the other Einstein wits? I don't know what that is. Priceless something or other. Dude's whole issue here seems to be that he thinks gravitational lensing is caused by something that is comparable to an actual lens rather than being caused by a point of immense gravity between us and the object we're viewing. The point is you have to have the same profile in space, right? If you try to view a galaxy, you can understand you have to see a bunch of photons. All right? So if when we view it, we're looking at light that's converging from the galaxy. Now, if I'm going to lens that, I have to put the lens has to be somewhere between me and the galaxy. And the lens has to be viewing it at the same size. It has to project its image on the lens at the same size it would have if I just directly looked at it, or it's going to get incredibly dim. If I make it smaller and smaller on the lens, then I'm going to be looking at something infinitesimally small from my point of view, and I won't get any photons. I won't have near enough. I mean, Einstein pointed out all this stuff, and you just don't give a fuck. But I mean, it is real physics to figure out how these lenses work, and you can't project an image. You can't send 10 photons to the lens when you needed 1,000,000 photons to see the object. You still have to project it with 1,000,000 photons on the lens. God, you people are so fucking stupid. All right, at least that's my layman's perspective. So again, layman's perspective isn't going to work. You have to really spend some time drawing it and trying to figure out the mechanics. And there's just no mechanics for seeing a galaxy lensed. It's much too massive an object. It's hundreds of thousand light years across. It's a gigantic object you're viewing. And the lens can't do it because the lens is bent the wrong way. Gary is a mental case. Poor boy. Get what you deserve, fucker. I hope you end up with the scream. You deserve whatever fucking pain you can get, fucker. You liar, you sack of shit. Fuck you. You ragged shit talkers. You guys should get what you deserve. Alright, gotta take the meth lion. So again, more waste of time. He spells daft with an R. Okay, yeah, and MCToons spells dog ass liquor. Okay, with a D-O-G, ass, A-S-S. Yeah. Fuck you! Oh, God, you people are just such pieces of shit. Great video about Galileo's experiment with gravity. Okay, so what will this prove? Galileo didn't believe in kinetic energy. So what? How would this be relevant? Let's see. Let's think how Galileo didn't believe in kinetic energy, and so somehow a Galileo video is going to prove kinetic energy. I don't think it will. All right, I'll save that for later. I've probably seen it, but whatever. Tell all the robots, I'll debunk it if it's horseshit, though. Tell all the robots that kinematic equations don't work. So what does this have to do with anything? I mean, show me. Show me what equation built a robot. Show me where kinetic energy ever built anything. So if you used momentum, you get a wrong answer, and you use kinetic energy, you get the right answer. Show me that anywhere. It obviously doesn't work with rockets, as I've already I've proven. Rockets don't do equal and kinetic energy doesn't do equal and opposite. It doesn't obey the third law. So exactly what are you going to use as an example where mv squared built anything, saved anything, rescued anything, ever landed on the moon, did anything? Show me the experiment where if I used momentum, I'd get a wrong answer. Show me that. There's something about this guy that makes me think of Weird Al. Who cares? My God, he's so angrily stupid. Well, we'll see, fucker. Again, to the future. Find the little weasels and piss on their graves. I was listening to this last night and wanted to reach through the screen at this guy about his refusal to accept the units concept. Yeah, what units concept? Newton didn't write 9.8 meters per second. You do know that, right? He wrote whatever the equivalent in feet is. So was Newton getting wrong answers because he was using feet instead of meters? Is that your argument? Fuck tard. God, these people are just so obnoxious. When the smartest guy in the room can't be bothered to do math, it creates some sort of unstoppable force versus a move. Oh, whatever that is. I think the Woodstock. Okay, we can ignore that. The real question here is he smoking weed? Okay, we can ignore that. Gary, like most rocket equations, I always like to say, well, let's pretend the fuel is nuclear and we don't have to worry about any kind of mass change. So what's wrong with that? Thought experiment. That's what it's called. It's called a thought experiment. And sometimes it expedites things to do thought experiments. Okay. I don't graduate junior high, let alone high school, but there's no change in mass when there's an energy coming from. No, there's no rational, reasonable, meaningful change in the mass. Okay. Throwing a couple of fleas out of a Saturn V rocket wouldn't make any difference. You can't even measure the weight of the Saturn V rocket, okay, with enough precision to even calculate the amount of mass the uranium would lose. Idiot. Oh, God, these people. Must be bleak times for the this whatever new age scam. Well, fuck this. Obviously, I have no interest in any new age scams. You're the crystal rubbers and dog ass lickers. And the dumb fuck does not understand elementary dimensional analysis. So another lie. There's no dimensional analysis relevant here. None. None. Show me a single experiment where if I used momentum to do my calculation, I'll get a wrong answer. Show me. Okay, how can someone be so confident about knowing absolutely nothing? Gary character knows absolutely nothing about maths. Oh, yeah, there we are again. The two competing equations are mv versus one half, which we can get rid of, really doesn't mean anything, and mv squared. How is this challenging to you? I somehow cheated. I somehow manipulated what the formulas were. No, I didn't do anything like that, asshole. It's just amazing. I'm frankly surprised this guy isn't a flirt. Well, whatever. When this started, I thought it might be quite sensible conversation. I was wrong. Yeah, I know. I made my decent argument regarding what the challenges are for you to overcome, and you guys overcome none of them. All right. Oh, he's confusing Eddington's personal journal. The personal journal is describing the experiment. Yes, he also described his hotel room. He described some other things. But it's documenting what happened, you fuck. I mean, jeez. It's what he saw happen. It's a description of exactly what happened. And thinks science has to be published in a journal of some sort. Well, I don't think so, but obviously, that's what science believes. I mean, you can't really assert something without some asshole saying, well, where is it published in a peer-reviewed journal? You can't say anything if it's not published in one of our journals. I mean, evolution can't be right until the Pope publishes a book about it. Mass is force, but Luke Skywalker, well, I'm not going to bother with that. Unfortunately, Gary's completely misunderstands relativity. What's to misunderstand? You don't believe there's absolute space that has absolute positions. Obviously, me, Newton, and Galileo think you're an idiot. Let's look at the ball being thrown from the train. He is using a situation with two velocity components and no force. What are you talking about, no force? There's no point. He's not going to be on this subject, right? I mean, I'm pointing out that a photon can't have two velocities. A baseball thrown off a train can. That's the simple truth. I throw the baseball off the moving train. The baseball retains a velocity this way and gets a velocity that way. It has effectively two velocities. And the net product will be it will move a path that is going to be faster than the 80-mile-an-hour train, but a lot slower than 80 plus 40. All right, it's going to do the Pythagorean thing and end up being a hypotenuse. All right, but it still has built into it the exact same thing of it's going 40 miles an hour that way and 80 miles an hour that way. A photon can't do that because then it would end up traveling a path where it's going faster than the speed of light. So you can't give a photon two velocities. Duh. Alright, should be back. Okay, MCToon Live, what is in on about? So it's just kind of funny. 25 times the fuel to go 5 times faster. Yeah, you just don't understand. That's what the equation requires. For kinetic energy to be a correct theory, it's just the truth that if you want to go twice as fast, you have to do 4 times the work to do it. You want to go 3 times as fast, you have to apply 9 times the work to do it. You want to go 4 times as fast, you have to apply 16 times the energy or work to do it. And if you want to go 5 times as fast, you have to push it with 25 times the amount of fuel, and you will get 25 times the impact. That's the fucking theory. Shithead. Alright. Einstein said it was highly unlikely we'd ever see a ring from a star. He never considered galaxies. Well, the point he's making is that the reason why you're not going to see this stuff is because the point where you could actually create a lens is only a tiny amount of space. Because as soon as you go a little bit too far this way, the light bends wrong. And you go a little bit that way, the light bends wrong. So you could only see a sliver of something. A tiny number of photons. So it would never project to us. We'd need millions of photons to see the things we see. And you can't see it if you're only getting 10 photons. Okay, this dude didn't even read the 1936 Science article, so just keep lying, but okay, fine. I really like this one. I mean, he just sits there and quotes the fact that Einstein said you'd never see it, and I didn't say Einstein said you wouldn't see a galaxy. I said Einstein's argument is that the amount of photons is insufficient. All right, anyway. What I don't agree with here is the flurf comparison. I'm not going to waste my time. MC Dog makes more sense than this guy, whatever that even means. What the hell? Oh, it's MC's dogs. Oh, no, you mean Mac's dogs. Yeah, the dogs whose ass he's no doubt licked. What the hell? That's all I have for this guy. What the hell? I watched the whole thing now. I have more thing to add. Top left. Whatever. Who cares, stupid fucking moron with all you whatever, some sort of religious hat. Gary really need to take anger management. No, I don't. I have exactly the proper amount of anger. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't punched anybody. I haven't beaten anybody. I haven't in any way imposed violence on anyone. Fuck you. I'm allowed to say fuck you to scum like you. Lying little turdy shit talkers who are unaccountable weasels who have no doubt really ugly wives. I don't have to take your shit, fucker. You bald, ugly mug. You fucking jarhead-looking turd. I don't have to take your shit. So shove it, you dog-ass-licking fucker. I suspect that Gary is really educated in physics. What is this? I suspect that Gary is in reality educated in physics and is putting on a performance for us. No, that's what the flat earthers that you're wasting time on are doing, you idiots. Oh, god damn. Donald Duck in Mathematical Land. Well, no point. Gravity doesn't give anything momentum. So there you go. I mean, can you get a dumber fucking thing to say than gravity doesn't give anything momentum? It's giving it has a mass and you gave it a velocity and it didn't give it momentum. Oh, amazing. Why is he talking about Eddington like it's the only way relativity was ever verified? I wasn't talking about relativity. I'm talking about light bending. That was the subject, bending light. The subject wasn't relativity. Relativity is wrong for lots of reasons, lots of ways to figure out it's absolute nonsense. I wasn't arguing relativity. I'm arguing the very concept that you can bend a photon with a force, because you can't. Forces can't bend forces. So this is a Gaiath person, this some sort of religious symbols again. He is really caught up on his second squared term. Okay, yes. It's really important. It's the difference between 9.8 per 1 second and 9.8 per any number of seconds squared. Yeah, they're completely different formulas. All right, wonder if he knows what the integral dx dt with respect to time would yield. So again, it's your idea that this is a velocity when it isn't. A velocity is just measured in terms of how much distance you travel in how much time, period. And you can add it or subtract it, but there's no such thing as an acceleration, really. An acceleration is just adding or subtracting a velocity. There's no such thing as acceleration. In the UK, when I was at school, we called them Newton meters, not spring scales. So whatever, I don't know whether that matters. We know that Newton didn't use a Newton, so we know that much. He seems to be very upset by modern firearm design absorbing recoil. So I'm not even going to... There's no point in even acknowledging these liars. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm upset by my modern firearm design. Where did I say anything in my video claiming I was upset by the design? Assuming a 44 Magnum revolver with a bullet of 16 grams, so he's going to try to argue that it isn't 1,000 to 1 difference in the kinetic energy, when no, it of course is. Absolute fact. Muzzle velocity. The firearm will only have a resultant velocity of 28.97 feet per second, 8 miles per hour. This obviously assumes that all the energy is transferred into the firearm and no unburnt powder is expected from the nozzle. This is Newton's third law, yeah. So the gun recoil has 1,000 times less kinetic energy. Can you understand? I don't know why you're so scared of math. Again, So they're so delusional, they can't even get anywhere close to the subject. It's exactly the point I'm making, you retard. It's exactly my point. The squared velocity means the bullet has an insane amount of energy, and the gun recoil has an insane lack of energy, completely violating Newton's third law. What about my argument did you not understand? Oh, I mean, it's just so bad. Damn, Tomb got Dr. Orca, whatever that is. I never realized that all quantities in physics are interchangeable and used are meaningless. Yeah, the whole idea of distinguishing what energy is as different forms is meaningless. It's always in the form of momentum. When it's moving an electron, it's momentum. When it's moving an atom, it's momentum. When it's moving a substance, it's momentum. It's always momentum. All energy is momentum. I know, Marty, that's why it was such a great concept. That's why you ruined physics. It's because you took something so fucking logical and turned everything upside down and shit on it. Alright, Marty, I'm going to be sad. No, I don't want to do Marty crap. Fuck that, whatever that is. Well, that's different. Okay, he's the guy with the religious symbol. Non-flurf that doesn't believe in kinetic energy. Whatever, waste of time. I said MCToon, definitely an F-E-R deep inside. I don't know what that is. More like deaf physics. Oh boy, that one again. Acceleration denial. Now I've heard everything. So how did I deny the existence of increases and decreases in velocity? Didn't deny that at all. I'm here for the big jerky herky. Okay, that's nothing. When you very clearly explained acceleration and he immediately started deflecting. Gold. Inmendum needs to stick to philosophy because this was truly painful display. Yeah, that's your opinion. We'll see how it turns out, motherfucker. Dog fucker. We'll see how it turns out, dog fucker. Because you still have zero evidence. You're not going to show me one circumstance where if I use momentum, I'll get a wrong answer. Not one. You should have asked the man to show us something moving at a speed of 5 meters. It's always the assumption is, okay, that clearly it would be 5 meters of extra velocity. You're adding that much velocity to the whatever units you are doing it in. So what's so complicated? But anyway, I'll never feel bad again at having a hard time visualizing what multiplying units. So he doesn't understand if somebody said, let's see how to say it. I mean, in the context of you're going to increase something's velocity by an amount, and you say, well, it's 5 meters of extra velocity, you know it's going to be like, 60 plus 5 is 65. I mean, what's so complicated? But anyway, it took me a very long time to figure out, but I believe his issue is he knows the ideas involved in physics, but does not understand the math necessary. Okay, so again, they're just trying to pretend that MV and MV squared is complicated math. You don't understand. The simple argument is do you believe it takes 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast? Just say yes. That's what you believe. And I'll just call you an insane lunatic and we can be done with this, right? Because it's over. It's obviously questionable whether that could possibly be a truth. And you're pretending, no, we all know it's a truth because the math says so. Of course we have no evidence of that. Oh, these people are so bad. Cody Mathis is on the list. I don't know what that is. The main thing I learned from Gary is that it doesn't matter and he doesn't care. Well, this is just too ridiculous. I've made all these videos, all talking about the actual physics, diagramming the physics, and asking you to point out where something in those videos I diagram something inaccurately. And you're too much of a fucking weaselly coward to do that. You're pathetic cowards. Alright, Epic. This is the guy who really thinks a lot of himself. I've only gotten so far for him to say he's looking forward to having someone double check his thinking. I didn't say anything about that. He sounds suspiciously reasonable. What I'm requesting is for somebody to test what I'm saying. So test it and show where I failed the test. And again, I can't make it any easier for you. 5-minute videos. So just explain to me why levers are lying, jackass. It's not complicated. Because the lever doesn't agree with kinetic energy theory. It says different things are the same thing, are equal in their capacity to move matter. I mean, you people, I just can't believe none of you can ever stay on the subject. After listening for a while, this guy is just a blank clown. He's denying relationships between things that have been measured and observed for centuries. Okay, it's a lie. What have been measured and observed for centuries is the lever and the law of the lever, and there's no evidence of kinetic energy anywhere near the balance. The thousands of year-old balance doesn't show any evidence of having any respect for your theory, your kinetic energy nonsense. It can't find it, it can't see it, and it can't show it. And you haven't touched that argument, you weasel. Does this guy think he is Einstein? No, I'm not as dumb as Einstein. Einstein created a woo theory and then called other people wooicists. He created spooky action, gravitational geodesic moves things, and then accused other people of creating, spooky action. He has a spooky action theory, and then he calls other people spooky actionists. So yeah, I'm not as big frankly, I don't make mistakes like that. All right, I'm literally hand loading ammunition. So this is the kind of guy. Yeah, it says he's sitting there in his underwear and his fucking whatever, loading his gun. Yeah, this is the guy you need as a commenter on your videos. I'm actually willing to give him the benefit of the doubt had he explained just a little bit more clearly why he thought the sloppiness of the lensing experiments would have an impact on the result. You don't understand why you're doing it. It's an impossibly difficult experiment, trying to see a flea on somebody's shoulder at 20 feet. And you're going to moronically ask me why it would matter how good your telescope is? Oh, fuck. It's just too priceless. Let's see. The metal has returned. It's kind of blurry. You might want to zoom in. Let's see. Oh my God. This is beautiful. Once Simon Dan talked about him, I knew he wasn't long to see. Ha ha ha. Yeah, and Simon Dan avoided the subject entirely. Just weaseled out entirely. Didn't touch the subject at all. All right, maybe if we laid off the bong, okay, so another drug reference from Beer Man. You know, the Beer Man is making bong jokes. Okay. I love how he's no fun in physics guy. Yep, that's right. I'm so happy for them to discover in April that the game needs something fun and engaging to do. I don't know what all that much is. It's interesting how passionate and insistent he gets about how much he doesn't care and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I understand physics, okay? And mv squared doesn't need any units. 1 velocity versus 5 mass is perfectly acceptable. Wait, this doofus thinks pressure is momentum. Damn right I do. Show me pressure not created by something's momentum. So just show me any circumstance where something's applying pressure and it doesn't have momentum. I can summarize this moron's position in a single sentence. You can't do all the math you want. I'm not going to pay any attention. So again, I've seen the derivatives, and I'm saying it's not seconds times seconds. It's 1 second times 1 second. 1 second times 1 second is not second squared. All right, infinity times 0. No, it's not interested. How does 1 match star sky second graph? No. The noise is his vape pen. Yes, it's really not all of that. Doc Brownstone needs to jump back into his I don't know, waste of time. Is his brain wear dynamite? If his brain, he could blow up the hat off his head. Huh, I'm not wearing a hat, fucktard. Gary just doesn't get it. That's right, I don't get it. There's nothing to get. There's no such thing in this universe as a square second. Okay. He looked at 9.8 seconds squared and thinks he can just dismiss squared. I don't have any reason to believe it is the point. There's no reason to believe it's not 9.8 seconds per 1 second. 9.8 in increased acceleration per 1 second. That's the actual formula. You want to lie and say the actual formula is something else, that's your business, but it's lying. I mean, you've got to be God botherers or something. Why would you deny the simple fact that it's 9.8 to 1? That's the ratio. 1 second, 1 9.8. 2 seconds, 2 9.8s. 3 seconds, 3 9.8s. Why does that bother you? All right, I want to thank MCToon. It was my first clue wasn't going well. Let's see. So he doesn't like MCToon. I think this, yeah, because that's what it's written as. I think this is what happens when you're okay at math but great at LSD. A bunch of water molecules between you and space, which is worse than just clouds. Yeah, when they're spread out over the space as actual water blobs, it's worse than it being mist in a cloud. What does he think clouds are? They're not giant droplets yet. See, if they were giant droplets, they'd already be falling. Can you get that? Can you get that if they were already giant droplets, they'd be falling towards the earth? Can you get that? Okay, what? That hippie had too many LSD, some more drug references. I am certified gunsmith and listen to Gary say that bullets defy the third law of motion hurts my brain. I said guns violate it. It's a violation of the third law, okay, to argue for kinetic energy. I'm saying the momentum is equal. I said it over and over again. The recoil of the gun is the same momentum as the velocity of the bullet. I'm saying they have equal. I'm the one believing in the third law. They're the ones not believing in the third law, you fucking certified asswipe. Oh, god damn it. The bullet typically weighs about 55 grams, where the rest of the rifle weighs 5 to 10 pounds. Exactly my argument. It's exactly the same momentum. That's what the ballistic pendulum proves. You can collect the momentum, you can't collect the kinetic energy. That's exactly the proof, you idiot. They both have the same force acting on them. That's my point, fucker. So how could one of them have 2,000 times the energy if they have the same force acting on them, you fuck? I mean, can you be dumber? Go ahead, try to say something dumber. Oh, apply math. Don't want to do math. Oh, Jesus. I wish I had the same confidence in things I actually can do and know that this guy has in his incompetence. Whatever. No evidence mentioned. Show me it taking 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast. Just show it, fucker. If you're going to talk shit, back it up, fucker. Come on, weasel. God, you people deserve nut cancer. You really do. You deserve to you just have no fucking integrity, no fucking honor as a man, right? You can't man up and prove what you're saying. You'll talk shit about somebody and you can't prove shit. God, you're such pieces of scum. Let's see, is Hubby Bubby? I don't really want to do that. What is this? His Hubbly Bubbly didn't really chill him out, did it? Pibesmith. I don't know what any of that could mean. Yeah, this is the comma. I mean the point, but gravitation distorts the point. It's not even a good circle. He doesn't understand that the gravity, massive gravity, is spherical. Okay. Physics says energy is a scalar, and so no direction. What a stupid clown. So again, I just don't... What is there to say? So there's a train rolling down the tracks. All of its calculated momentum is in one direction, and somehow its kinetic energy isn't. Its kinetic energy is going all over the place. It's not its mass and velocity. And all of its velocity isn't in one direction. Somehow all of its velocity is in all kinds of directions. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I mean, it's beneath the dignity to have to respond to comments that silly. Let's see. He says he's not a flat earther and then pulls out the prototype flurfer debate tactics. Well, I'm not going to bother with that. I feel sorry for this guy. He clearly cares a great deal about what he is saying, but admits it takes no enjoyment in discussing it. Yeah, with morons. And not being able to have fun. Okay, have fun. Have fun being insulted. You should just get what you deserve, you fucking little piece of crap, you rabbit pirate. What does that mean? How many rabbits have you shoved up your ass? You haven't, if you haven't yet, check out the response video. Great. Yeah, please do. It appears to be a situation which MCToon guess ward attendant is nearly off screen. I don't know what all that means. I don't know anything about physics, nor do I give a crap about it. So this is the real portrait of a MCToon watcher. But Gary destroys anyone here in philosophy. Just take a look at his other channel. So more nonsense. Brother. You're off the subject, fucker. Let's just say I was the greatest pinball player in the universe. What relevance would that have? It wouldn't. It's not relevant. So even the people on my side are idiots. Disappointing, really. But anyway, okay, so we did it. All right, so I think we're done for a while. And what I will do is maybe I'll put a little clip video together of some of the little key moments or something like that. But I don't know if I'll get around to that soon, but we'll see. So till the next time and such.